Well, all right. Welcome back to another segment of
Let's talk about it.
I'm Brother RJ, and this here is Brother Wright. And we back on the scene doing what we've been told to do, doing what we've been called to do. Now, I thank each and every one of you for jumping and watching us. Check this out. This is what we want you guys to do. Check us out on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram. We have our own website, www.truthandlove.tv. We're pressing and we're pushing. You know what Truth and Love, what we come here to do. We're committed to pleasing the Lord.
Right.
At the same time, we committed to connecting people to God, connecting people to their God-given purpose, and connect our church to the community.
Right.
Now, check this out. This lesson today, this message today, I'm talking about building. I'm talking about one brick at a time.
One brick at a time.
Oh, man, but we're going to start off. We're going to get directly in the message. We're going to start off with, man, the prayer.
Yes.
The prayer. Then you got praise and worship.
Right.
I'm talking about the prayer was so dynamic.
This has been going on for
A while.
a little minute.
Wow.
Yes.
But that's a good thing because because we're looking for the outpouring of God's Spirit on
Right.
each and every one of us to be able to press and push us and get us to that place of where we need to be.
It's-
that place of elevation.
Right. Right.
But praise and worship?
Man, it's a good thing to be at Truth and Love during this season right here.
Man, look at here. Look at here.
Even in the absence of the man of God,
Man, look here.
a pastor.
Look at here, man. Look
God
here,
still
look
pouring
here.
out his spirit
Still
on us.
always.
I tell you,
Yes,
awesome.
definitely.
Awesome. One brick at a time.
One brick at a time.
What a word.
Pastor Virgil Jones Jr.
Right.
Man sat there and got up to the plate. I'm talking about, and it was like, how in baseball, if y'all like baseball, y'all know how it go. You already got 2 outs. You got a full count. You got 2 strikes and 3 balls. You got the bases loaded. You the bottom of the 9th inning. You down by 3 runs. You got 3 people on base and a man up the bat.
Mm-hmm.
And boy, I'm talking about hitting that grand slam home run to
Bringing the house down.
Ooh.
Yes.
Or it could be the last seconds on the clock on a football game.
Woo,
And that last Hail
boy.
Mary, or that last play,
Yes.
get to the way. Whatever your favorite sports team is, or favorite sports is, imagine at the last possible minute with all possibilities and everything seem to be against you. That
Yes.
word came forth, man, one brick. So let's talk about that. Where did he come from in one brick
He
at a time?
came from Nehemiah 6,
Mhm.
verses 1 through 4.
Right.
And the gist of what I got out of this message, in verse 3, he said, and I sent messages to them saying,
Mm-hmm.
I am doing a great work, and I cannot come down. Why should the work stop while I leave it and come down to you? Talking to his enemies,
Right.
Sanballat, Tobiah, and Geshem,
Mm-hmm.
that was trying to hinder or stop the work of God. And Nehemiah, who was, by the way, a cupbearer.
That's it, a cupbearer. But your friends trying to hinder you from doing what God called you to do. Now, Pastor Verder said something so keen in that. He said your circle can become your prison. You got who you surround yourself with, your friends, the same people trying to hold you down
Mm-hmm.
from doing what God has called you to do.
Right.
Ooh, man.
That's awesome there, because and he also says sometimes you have to break away.
Uh-huh.
You have to cut yourself off,
Mhm.
cut them off. Some of your friends.
That's it.
When it's funny when God brings you out of your sins and your
Mhm.
troubles and
Right.
your lifestyle, your previous lifestyle
Mhm.
before you know Him. It comes with cutting some of your friends out. And some of
That's
them you
it.
don't have to cut out, because once they find out that you're serious about the Lord,
Boy, look
they
at
don't
here.
want to have anything to do
They're
with
gonna
you
fall
anymore.
anyway.
They're going to fall
They're
away.
gonna fall anyway.
But we still have enemies.
That's it.
One of the things that I picked up in this message
Mhm.
was what Nehemiah name mean.
Right.
And it goes a long way to why he was like he was. Nehemiah names mean comfort shall come from Yahweh. Comfort shall come from the Lord.
Comfort.
And comfort shall come. And he was the kind of person, as a cupbearer
Mm-hmm.
God could use and God sought out to do a work for him.
That's it. That's it.
You know, sometimes, and then when Nehemiah got word of what was going on in Jerusalem, who he was he was far away from Jerusalem
Mm-hmm.
at the time when he heard about what was going on. And he began to, the Bible says he began to weep and he began to cry.
Right.
It just was something that he had nothing to do with.
Nothing.
He had nothing. He was so far away from what was going on, yet and still he got word about what was going on.
Mhm.
Someone told him.
That's it.
They brought it to him what was going on. And the Bible says that Nehemiah broke down and began to cry once he heard about what was going on. He began to pray.
Come on.
Sometimes you got to pray. This is what the preacher say.
Come on.
Sometimes you got to pray for someone or something that has nothing to do with you. That's what intercessor. That's what being an intercessor is all about. Praying for someone else, standing in the gap, making up the hedge.
How many of us can actually say we can actually do that?
It's
Pray for somebody else or someone else that has nothing to do with you.
God had to know. God had to know what he had put in Nehemiah.
Yeah,
Because
definitely.
because the Spirit of the Lord broke him down.
Mm-hmm.
To you have to be a special person, like you say.
You got to be.
You have to be a special person to pray and to be affected by
To
the affairs of
intercede.
others, to
to
intercede.
intercede for some.
And when you are intercessor, you really feel
Mm-hmm.
what you're praying for.
Yeah.
You really feel on the inside what's going on in the entire situation, even though you might not be there.
Mm-hmm.
God can place you there spiritually, so
Right.
you know what's going on, and you can just
Uh.
imagine how the people are feeling.
Man, look at
You know,
here,
that's
man.
why that's why the Bible tells us that, RJ, that we should always pray and
Always.
pray
Always.
without ceasing,
Pray without.
because we never know, or we should know that our prayer count.
That's it.
Our prayers count.
That man, look, let me tell you. But that whole intercessor thing, you know what I'm saying? Because how he broke down the intercessor. The intercessor, I mean, you're interceding, but it's an intercession,
Right.
like an interception.
Mhm.
It's like, you know, he broke it down like
Oh,
when,
I like
when
that.
you playing ball,
Yeah, I like that.
and one team throw the ball and it's an interception,
Mhm.
and they go the other way. So interceding is like the interception.
Right.
It's an intercession. What it does is it reverses direction.
Reverses direction because of your prayer,
That's it.
because you're standing in the gap.
That's it.
It's a breach.
That's
It's
it.
something that's open where the enemy can come in, and God
Mhm.
uses a man to bridge that gap, or to
Right.
make up their head.
Right.
You know, he said something else that I took note of. He said Nehemiah
Mm-hmm.
was kingdom centered.
Right.
He was not self-centered. Many people are self-centered. They only
have mercy.
is concerned about their own welfare, their
Right.
own family, their
Right.
own children,
Right.
their own thing, their own jobs.
Right.
Only concerned about what's happening with them, myself, me, mine, I. But Nehemiah was kingdom centered.
And you have to be. You can't be self-centered, because when you self-centered, now all you can think about is what can somebody else do for you.
Right.
You ain't thinking about, you know what I'm saying, helping out somebody else. You think about, okay, if I do this, what you got for me? What you gonna do for me?
Mhm.
So many of us, we don't, you know, we self-centered on the fact that, hey, listen, you know, this about me.
But that's not the spirit of Christ,
It's not. It's not.
because Christ came not seeking his own welfare.
That's it right there.
He came to fulfill a purpose for you and I, for all
Mhm.
mankind.
Right.
He came for all of us. 80, blind, crippled, or crazy. He
That's it.
came for everybody in every situation. He was the perfect sacrifice. And to think that in his human form,
Mm-hmm.
the Bible's declare that Christ suffered in the flesh.
Come on.
And he learned, the Bible also says, according to the Hebrew writer, he learned obedience by the things he suffered. Because
Mhm.
in being 100% man
Mm-hmm.
100% God.
Right.
He still felt the way we felt. He felt how we suffer. He felt how we hurt. He felt that. It wasn't foreign to Christ.
Right.
When
Right.
when people when they was whipping him and spitting on him and treating him bad, he
Mm-hmm.
felt just like we would feel.
Yeah.
But he knew it was a bigger purpose. Nehemiah had a bigger purpose in heart. God had made him more than who he thought he was. I thought about that. God can make us greater, more important,
Mhm.
for a more important purpose than
Right.
what we can
Right.
even imagine.
Right.
What we imagine ourselves to be.
But some of us, he now I'm not negating that God can't. I'm telling you, God, He can.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is in us as people.
Always.
We'll say, "Well, I can't do that. I'm only here to do this."
Mm-hmm.
You know, Pastor Virgil spoke on that. He was like, "Hey, listen, because the first thing we do, we shut out what? Look, I'm here for this. I'm here for this. I'm here for this."
Yes.
But then, or I can't do this, or I can't do that. And he said, God didn't ask you who you were. He came to tell you who you are. But so many of us, we get stuck in, well, no, I'm gonna stay here. I'm just gonna do this. I'm just gonna be a usher, and I'm gonna sit down, or I'm gonna be, I'm gonna be at the store and I'm gonna sit down, or I'm gonna be in a parking lot and that's gonna be it. No, or I can't do this. I can't do that. We hinder ourselves.
Oh, that's so good. That is so good.
And God didn't come and tell you. You know what I'm saying? God didn't ask you who you were. He came and tell you who you are. And so many of us, we get trapped into that circle of saying, well, we hinder and we doubt ourselves because we're not taking those bricks how we need to and stacking them.
Right.
We're looking at, the bricks that were broken, because even in that, he said it was 50 years that this wall was falling. It took them 52 days to build it. Can guarantee you, not once did he take fragmented bricks to build that new foundation.
Oh, no.
But so many of us, we'll put them fragments into building and like, well, Lord, I can't do this. So, you start doubting. You start having fear. You start being intimidated. You start, unbelieving. But then he taking them bricks. I'm going to build you. I didn't call to ask you, who you were.
Yes.
I know who you were. But I'm coming to let you know who you are.
That's
identity.
Powerful. That's powerful.
Yeah. You're forgetting your identity when you are using excuses about what you can't do or what you won't do, or you only came here for this. You only limiting yourself. But then you want God to please, you want God to bless you in every area of your life. But then you hinder the blessings that He can give you because you're steady putting fragmented bricks to build a foundation. God said, no. I got this. I ain't gonna ask you who you are. I know your bricks been falling. I got you. Let me give you these new bricks. Stop killing yourself. Stop hindering yourself. Stop making yourself, feel like you're inadequate or you can't do. You know what I'm saying? Even when God do place you there, you got to understand that, people need to move out the way.
Right.
Again.
Well, wait a minute, RJ. When God placed you there, you need to understand who you are or what He called you to do, and God will move people out of your way.
He'll move them.
And
He'll move them. Because the thing is, we can't allow. Although we are our greatest hindrances.
True.
We are the whole time we'll sit there and say somebody this and somebody don't want us this and somebody don't want us that. But where did that thought come from? It came from whatever you thought of or whatever happened, or somebody didn't like you. You formed that thought in your head.
Right.
You already hindered yourself from becoming who God called you to be.
Oh, man. One thing I liked about it, and on that same line, what you're saying, one thing that Pastor Virgil said was that Nehemiah didn't complain who he was.
Man.
He was a cupbearer. He knew that.
But
he didn't complain who he was. All he knew was that was a job needed to be done.
You just
God
cut everybody out.
Yeah, God will show you
Lord have
who you
mercy.
are.
But see, that's what some people think. Well,
I'm just an usher.
yeah,
I can't
exactly.
intercede.
Whatever.
I just take up an offering. I just move and pass the buckets. I'm not here to pray for people.
I just work in the parking lot.
Yeah, I mean,
I just want to make sure you park your car. Pray for you. I go get somebody. God called you.
I'm not a preacher. I'm not ordained.
That's the first thing a lot of us would say.
And Nehemiah was not a builder.
No.
He didn't go to school. He didn't take up that trade.
Ooh, but he had the attitude.
He had the attitude, and that's all God. He was obedient.
Mm.
He had a willing heart.
Mm.
That's what I want to say. He had a willing heart to do whatever God asked for him to do.
That's it.
That is maturity. That's maturity.
Yeah, man, who you
That's
telling?
maturity there. Whenever you come to a place when you've been walking with God long enough, and I'm not talking about years or months or however long enough is.
Right.
Long enough to realize that I can do all things through Christ that strengthened me. We say that, but when it comes time to us perform in that, sometimes we have a tendency to back up and forget about that until we get in a place of comfort. And then we can say, I can do all things. When you're doing the things and you happy doing it, but if you don't know what's the details about what God calling you to do, but yet and still you going to do it, that's faith.
That's it.
That's faith to trust in. I'm not worrying about what my occupation is.
That's it.
But what God want me to do.
But you know, you said something so key in that, because we have to be able to do what God has called us to do. We can't hinder ourselves. And then while we're fighting, we got to remember 2 Corinthians 10:4. The weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but by the pulling down of strongholds. We have to believe. We can't just say, okay, well, Lord, I'm I can't do that, but I'm here. No. You got to go in with those understanding, like you said, you got to have your, your weapon right there. And again, you got to remember your weapon are not things of carnality.
Right.
Your weapon gonna be that scripture.
Yeah, you ain't fighting people.
You ain't fighting people.
You ain't fighting. You're not fighting flesh and blood.
No,
you ain't finna whoop on nobody.
No, you ain't.
But God will take them out.
Death and life is in the power of the tongue. We got to be able to speak those things that are as if they weren't. We got to speak life into whatever situation. We can't go in like we say, in doubt, in fear, intimidation, unbelief. We cannot do that. We have to move forward because you got to be casting down every imagination.
And you got some people who say that they're doing a work for God, so they equate that to mean that I'm so deep spiritually that I can't fight physically, naturally.
Man, look at
the battle. Those people had to work brick by brick, but they also had to be aware that they had an enemy that was trying to stop them.
That's it.
And when you got an enemy, you got to never let your guard down. You got to be willing and ready to work and fight. That's I
it.
like that part in the message.
Yeah.
That there's a fight that has to be in us. You know,
got to be.
It's just like when somebody attack one of your children.
Woo, man, what you do?
Man, your instinct. The first thing is to defend you put yourself on the railroad track.
That's it right there.
I don't care what kind of locomotion coming at me. I'm finna protect my child.
You about to, yes. Most
and
definitely.
Yeah, sometimes it's some things that can raise up in an individual in times of trouble. That's when you really know God. When David got to go up against a Goliath, it's something that rose up in David when David inquired about this, and he heard Goliath. Well, who is this? Who is this great big uncircumcised Philistine?
That's it.
That would defile the very armies of God. What they say? What happened to the man that would defeat him?
That's it.
I
That's
can.
it.
I know God has been with me with this lion, and I've snatched
Mm-hmm.
the sheep out of lion, bears.
Mm-hmm.
I've been on the warfare. I've been out there with God, and I've seen God work. And I know good and well God can take out this
That's it.
Philistine, this
That's it.
obstacle that's defiling and keeping God's people in bondage.
That's it. That's it. And you know, one of the things we got to realize is no matter what your situation is or your circumstance, your trial or your tribulation, you have to understand and know no matter how long you say you've been broken or you went through or you endured or you're growing through, that God is going to turn those things around. He's going to rebuild. You got to have that faith. You got to understand and you got to know that's what He's going to do. We have to. I mean, we've already been told, trust in the Lord with all our heart, lean not to
Yes.
our own understanding, but in all thy ways acknowledge Him, and He shall direct thy paths. We have to walk in that. We have to have that faith. That faith is a mustard seed.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? That faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. Without faith, it is impossible to please Him. We have to know that. We have to do that. The problem is we have to get out of our the greatest battlefield you can ever go through in life. I don't care what we hear as humans on earth say. The greatest battlefield was this battle here and that battle here and that battle. That battle is in your mind.
Yes.
That you cannot allow the enemy to get so in your head that he hinders what God has for you or think outside of anything else different. We
Yes.
can't. So you got any final words for these folks?
You said something that made me think that we have to be we have to be renewed in our minds.
Yes.
We can't think like the natural man.
Mm-hmm. True.
We got to think that if God before us, who can be against us?
That's
we got
it.
to think about the one that's on the inside of us. And the more we walk in God, the more the Bible's declared that they who know their God
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
shall do exploits, great
That's it.
things,
That's
mighty
it.
things. And we have to come to that knowing that. We have
Mhm.
to come to that word of God that we can do great and mighty things if God is with us.
That's
If
it.
if God is calling you to
Come
do
on.
something,
Mm-hmm.
then there's a saying: if God calls, He will supply.
That's it. That's it.
If He call you, He will equip you. He will provide everything. God will not call you to do something for Him and not equip you.
Mm-hmm.
Not only He will equip you, but He will equip others to join in the fight with
That's
you.
it.
So
That's
that was
it.
a powerful word. I mean, I hope we hope we are doing some justice, but you might have to go back and look at it.
You gonna have to go
Yes.
back
Right.
and look. So always remember this: no matter what you're going through, no matter what you're growing through, no matter what situation, trial or tribulation, issue or circumstance, just know. Tell this week that you coming. You gonna come out. These bricks. You gonna build one brick at a time. The word was dynamic. It was awesome. I'm talking about go back, check it out. Don't forget to hit us up. Facebook, YouTube, Instagram. Look at our website, www.truthandlove.tv. If you don't have our app, check us out, man. Truth and Love app is on the Google Play Store, the Apple App Store. Go in there, and I'm talking about, but go back and check this message out.
Right.
Then go ahead and put comments on it. Let us know how much you enjoyed it. And hit us up in the chat down in the bottom on this. Let's talk about it. Let us know. You know what I'm saying? Talk back to us. That's why it's called Let's Talk About It. Let's talk about
Let's
it.
talk about
Hit
it.
us back and let us know what's going on and what's happening. We got to go out and we got to take back what the enemy stole from us.
Right.
For so many of us, it's in our mind. So many of us, it's in our body. We got to do that. So with that being said, man, this has been another segment of Let's Talk About It. I'm Brother RJ. This is Brother Wright. And here comes the church.